if you want to support the show, any of the shows, either this or whichever show, I'm not on right now because this is just a blanket ad for all of them, and the website, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com. In the description for any of the episodes of Beware of Spoilers, there is the option to donate. If you don't want to donate that way, you can donate directly through the website. We do have that, mwpnews.com. And if you don't want to support that way, then going to mwpnews.com will help out because we have ads there. We don't want to keep it, where there's a lot of ads. There's a few ads. But the point is we want to make it so that way, we can sustain this for the long term. If people donate, we're never going to paywall anything, I don't think, as of right now. But if people, start donating, we'll start doing cooler and cooler stuff. Like donations are how we get to cover stuff like Tribeca and other, film festivals. And, we may be able to bring on more people to help out. So if you want to help out the show and you want more content from us, by all means, even just going and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify helps out a lot. But that's it. That's the only ad we'll have on the podcast ever. But here's whatever podcast you're going to be listening to. Good morning, afternoon, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. And let's talk about the first episode of The Penguin, a show that I made the mistake of requesting screeners of way too early and then didn't get them. So I'm watching it live with everyone else. And here's the thing about, about the show. I think that it feels very, what's the word I'm looking for here? It feels very TV show-y. And not this is a serialized drama, so clearly there's going to be things that they're going to carry over and all that. But, I don't know if this feels like, when we talk about Marvel, almost to a fault, the Marvel shows feel like a movie stretched out across 6-8 hours, somewhere in that range. You still feel like you're getting the movie experience to the point where the big problem is the final episode of all of these is kind of the third act. So that is kind of like where, that this feels like the opposite direction, where it's like, this is kind of a serialized show about the Penguin kind of trying to reestablish and become the man in Gotham. I love the cold open of this episode, where he goes to, we get all the news clips, kind of for people who forgot where we were post the Batman and didn't listen to my episode of 30-minute reviews. That whole thing is very interesting. And then now we get the situation where, what the fuck is this guy doing? I think this guy's visibly drunk. And now we're in the situation where we have to look at, what's it called? We have to look at, what's the word for here? Long Island Cuban Cigars Experience. That is a bizarre thing upon the side of a truck. Sorry, I'm a little distracted right now. But here's my issue with this show. I don't think they've really given me a reason to care about this kid. I think his name's Andre. This kid. And I think that is kind of to the detriment of the show, considering this kid is kind of one of the leads. I went into this knowing who the Penguin was, and not only do I know who the Penguin is, I know who the Penguin is historically. In the background of one of the scenes, there's a reference to the guy who originated the role of the Penguin in live action. I mean, there's, one of the stores, when they go to, the sleazy kind of, underbelly of Gotham is Burgess Jewelers, and I'm like, oh, that's Burgess Meredith, who played the Penguin in Batman 66, and so it's kind of clear what they're going for here, and I get what they're doing. So I know who Oswald Cobblepot is, and I have that investment in him because I'm like, okay, this guy is going to become a major player in Gotham going forward in the future, especially as we get more of these movies. And the question that I have is, this kid who's also here, it's like, okay, so he's going to be the mentee, where it's like early on in the cold open, which you get the moment of the son of Falcone, like he is, he's talking to Oswald, and Oswald talking about the old style gangsters, the guy who would if you needed help with rent, you could go to him, he'd front you the money. If you needed this, you could go to him and he'd help you. And it's like, and he knew who everyone was. If he saw you on the street, he'd be like, hey, how you doing? And when he died, it was a big deal, and they treated it like they treated it like it was a serious thing, and they had this massive parade, and it's like, and this guy makes fun of him for like, that's what you want to be? Like, is that like, you think I'm some small 2-bit gangster, or is that what you want to be? Like, and then he fucking kills him, and like, it's a great moment to kind of establish who Oswald is. It's Oswald just wants to be respected, like, and characterizing it that way does such a great job of kind of setting the entire show in motion. And then as the show goes on, you get the indication about why he craves that so badly. He goes back to his mother, and it's like, it's the same thing. I don't think it's his mother. This other woman, I don't remember. Was that his mother? I think it was. Or maybe it was his sister. Like, he goes back to that person. I think it is his mother. And he's like, we have to get you out of here because, I killed this guy. And she's like, no, you're a pussy. You gotta, like, and I'm like, this is great for building out this character. We don't get anything near that with this kid. This kid is just kind of there, and it's like, I feel like we need more about him to kind of, balance out why I should care about this dynamic between the two of them, and it not just be, all around what we are, what's going on with the two of them. Like, I want to be able to care about the kid independent of Oswald's involvement. Like, I don't need Oswald there to care about the kid, is where I want this show to take me. And to that end, I don't think after one episode they've really done that yet. But I do like this kind of slow rise to power that we're watching. That's what the entire show is about. It's about Oswald Cobblepot slowly starting to come to terms with who, what power he wants, what power he can get, and what steps he's willing to take to get that power. That's what this show is about, and I think that they handle that very well in the confines of what's going on here. Kristen Milioti's great too. I think that she has like the standout role for me, because I'm only really familiar. I haven't watched Black Mirror, so the only thing I'm really familiar with her from is How I Met Your Mother. I also haven't seen that movie she was in with Andy Samberg, Palm Springs, which is like a Sundance baby from a few years ago. Like, looking at that, like, her performance as, like, the lost daughter of Falcone, who is like, oh, I don't want to, what's it called? He's the only one who cared about me, and now he's missing, and I don't know where he is, and, and I was in Arkham for years because I'm just a fucking lunatic and I murdered a bunch of people. Like, that whole thing is just so... She handles it all so well, and she plays it so well to the point that I'm like, this is a character that I want to see more of her. And I think that that's kind of what this is going to be. This is going to be about fleshing out the players of Gotham's underworld, so that way we get to the end of this show, and we understand what's going on where and with who. Like, I don't know if we get a definitive answer about who's running things, But we're at a point now where we have this power vacuum in the criminal underworld. And I think to an extent, that is kind of where I bump into this show a little bit as a spin-off of the Batman. What is Batman doing in this situation? Because I feel like that's an important thing that needs to be addressed. What's Batman doing? Where is Batman, in all of this? And why is he not doing more to kind of combat this situation in the criminal underworld? Like, I get that we've seen his arc in the movie was like, I'm not going to be the spirit of vengeance, which I realize is Ghost Rider, but still, like, I'm not going to be the person who goes in as just a blunt tool to stop the biggest crimes. But, like, it feels weird that there's no indication outside of that opening thing, like the opening news montage, where it's like he helped people out, he became a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham after after helping people get rescued. And I'm just like, why is he not involved in this situation where Gotham's underworld is kind of falling apart? Like, let's be real, like, it's a serious situation where it's like, yeah, it's not like, maybe that is what this is kind of like the building up as like, well, Batman's not perfect, which I'm more than fine with because I'm tired of fucking jerking off Batman, like, which, that's a fucking clip right there. Like, the amount of Batman things and the Bat God of DC, like, I'm tired of it. So maybe taking a minute to treat this kind of like, and that's the thing too, is that it's like, if that is where this show is going, which I think there's a very real chance that it is, it's not addressing the core issue of Batman, which is like, if Bruce Wayne really wanted to stop crime in Gotham, using his billions upon billions, if not trillions of dollars, to invest in social programs would do more to stop crime than Batman ever could beating the fuck out of people. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, look, Gotham has its unique issues that are not real world issues, like you don't have laughing gas being dumped into the water supply in the real world. But at the same time, there are systemic issues in Gotham that kind of lead to these organized crime situations. And yes, you do need Batman, but I think also Bruce Wayne putting his money in other places would solve the problem. And I think it would solve the systemic issues that prevent you from having to fight Joker 40 years in the future where you need Batman Beyond. Like, that's kind of the problem. And to an extent, Batman trying to be this thing where I'm going to treat the symptoms but not the overall issue is kind of a moral of the story in a weird way. Don't treat the symptoms. And that's what Batman Beyond's entire thing is. You get to the end and it's like, oh shit, so he really didn't make anything better, did he? Oh, this motherfucker with a fucking Trump sticker on the side of his car. And he's a Mason. So, regardless, the point I'm trying to make is, like, when I see this, and I don't see Batman here, like, what I see is you have a festering wound in Gotham, left behind by what happened with the Riddler. You have this situation where people are, where people are, struggling, and again, Bruce Wayne, that we can see in this show, is not using his money to fix any of that. He's just kind of, presumably he's living up in his tower and he's kind of chilling up there, and it's like, all right, well, later peasants, like, that is not a crime issue, so have fun. And because these issues are not the kind of things that are, big and flashy, it doesn't distill up to him. To that end, I think we're in kind of a weird situation. I think there is the potential that this show could do something interesting. in that if it becomes an indictment of Batman as the sole way Gotham can protect itself against these loons, that could be interesting. And I think that would be a very interesting place for this show to go. Because I don't think, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, that we've really had the exploration of the failures of Batman as a character or as an institution within Gotham. So I'm very much in favor of that. That said, if that is what this is, let's see how the audience responds. Because we are coming off of, this summer, The Acolyte. Like, The Acolyte is basically the same thing. The Acolyte is just taking the same thing we saw in the prequels and expanding it out to kind of be like, well, here are these, here are the failures of the Jedi. The Jedi were not perfect. The Jedi were not these infallible peacekeepers. They were human with human motivations and human emotions, and they got the best of them, and they were so committed to their own power, they ended up collapsing under themselves. They were their own undoing. And I think, to an extent, I don't think we're going to reach a point where it's like Batman's going to get shot in his bathroom or something like that, or anything even close. I think what we could get is something where it's like, whoever the villain is of the next movie could be given space to rise here in a way that's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, and this villain coming out of Batman's lack of foresight to go and kind of try and help out and do what Batman does in this situation could be an interesting thing for the next movie to explore. This is a villain in a way of his own making. It's not exactly in his own making. It's not a Tony Stark fucking someone and then or Howard Stark fucking someone and then that person coming back to bite him in the ass. This is more of a, I didn't act, and this is what it led to. Which in a way would take the criticism and turn it on its head. The criticism of Batman as a blunt object that only uses his powers or his abilities and his money, to live out this crime fantasy. But it's an interesting place that they could be going. And there's rumors that Clayface is going to be the villain. I hear there's a new drug coming into Gotham. My first thought is what was that? Is Venom for Bane. That's the first thing that pops into my head when I hear that. Is that it's like, oh, okay, that could be cool. Or what was the thing on Arrow that was like, it was a drug that like it gave people like super strength and stuff. Like, was that also Venom? I don't remember, but like that could also be what's coming into Gotham. And if that's what's coming into Gotham, then we could be in some interesting places. I want to see kind of where this goes and how this kind of works broadly. But I don't think we're going to get a concrete answer at any point in the near future. As the show unfolds, we'll get more. But look, I think what we're looking at here is a TV show that is, and I'm probably wrong, because I think when I make these bold speculations based on episode 1, I tend to be wrong. What we're looking at here is a show that is designed to give rise to the bad guy for the next movie through, okay, so here's how Batman didn't help out, and here's how this person was able to rise up as an entity that is now going to take on Batman. Because Batman is a symbol of hope for the city. Well, where the fuck was he during this? And this could be Clayface, this could be Bane, this could be, I think Bane might be a bit much. I think we just had Bane in the movie. I mean, granted, we did have Riddler in a movie too, but that was further back, and this is a very different take. I think Clayface could be interesting. Especially for a detective noir version of Batman. Which is clearly what the Batman is. But I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think that really getting to dive into the Penguin's character is a great use of our time, and I look forward to seeing more of this. But we will wrap up there for today. Our next episode will be tomorrow evening. We'll be talking about Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. And then next week, is there a new release next week? I think there is a new release movie next week. I can't remember what it is, though. I know not this Monday coming up, but next Monday we're going to be doing Joker Folie à Deux, because that's coming out. And then I know that's a definite, and I feel like there was one more. This coming week is there's two movies coming out. I know for certain The Good Robot, but I don't remember what the other one is. The Good Robot I'm very much looking forward to. I like when I get to do multiple animated movies in close succession, because I did really enjoy Transformers 1 last night. Like, my initial response after leaving was like, there are a lot of problems with this movie, but can I get one every week until I die? And that's fine by me. But The Wild Robots is next week. But until then, have a great rest of your week.